Let's call to order the meeting for the Economic Development Authority of the City of Lynchburg. Thank you all for being here. First item will be roll call. Sean Hewitt. Here. Patricia Mosby. Absent. George Ann Sneed.
Here.
Kimberly Sorensen.
Here.
John Stone. Here. Richard Tugman. Absent. Sackett Wood.
Here.
Thank you. Next up will be approval of the minutes from our August 17th meeting. Those are in your packet. Do we have any conversation before I accept a motion to approve as presented?
Motion to approve. Second.
Great. We have a motion to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Minutes are approved. Next up is an ARPA update from Margette.
Yeah. And I'm not the expert on ARPA, but you all are the conduit for this grant. This is Virginia Tourism Corporation. These are ARPA funds. Every municipality based on their, I think their sales tax numbers was given by formula, a certain amount of money to be utilized. And so this ran through you all, just want you to be updated on what's been done. So Anna has provided an update. It's for information only. And she's also given you the budget that they worked out for all of the things that that they were going to do. And just some of them, as is in the agenda item, is ambassadors, the folks that work at different businesses that we're using for ambassadors. I think we have a contract with Blue Ridge Outdoors, and through the sheer will of Emily Gwynn, I think we ended up as number 2, the best outdoor adventure, and we were up against like Asheville and different folks like that. So it was very impressive because she set a goal for herself that was going to be. So as with everybody, when we send out something and ask you all to vote or push it out to the rest of the folks, it makes a big difference when you can get on those lists. And you can see everything else. We also have I've been wanting there to be a mural at Kemper Street Station for a very long time. And we've just we've done a call for the artist and selected somebody, and that's going to start immediately. And also wayfinding for the city. I'm sure all of you all, just like me, when I'm out running or walking or doing whatever, some of these signs to tell you to go anywhere in Lynchburg are a little tired. I take pictures of them, people hate me, and send them and go, what are we doing about this? But Anna's got a whole wayfinding group that she's kind of heading up in communications and public engagement. So just wanted to keep you all updated on that because it does flow through the EA.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions on that?
This is no match, is it?
No.
Just a grant.
Big mural.
Mm-hmm.
Be great.
It's great.
Local artist.
I think so.
Well, I just want to applaud you, coming from the arts background, that the proposal, the sum is a fair amount, and I'm sure has attracted more professional artists. You get what you pay for.
Exactly.
Great, thank you. Margette, would you like to continue with our
Sure.
Tech Hub strategy development?
Yeah. So I took this to the Finance Committee after the last EDA meeting. So we worked and prepared an application for the Tech Hub, a strategic planning development grant. And there was a match required with that. It is a $500,000 grant if you get it. And so I would ask the EDA to approve the private sector folks, BWXT and Framatome both approved, as did CDCC, to match the grant. We will only have to match it if we get the grant. And it came from the finance committee as a recommendation for the EDA to approve. And I put in your Dropbox, the actual application that was submitted on behalf of the Lynchburg niche consortium group that came together to put, this was a Herculean effort here. And Lynchburg, it was the underdog extraordinaire, sheer force of will between Megan Lucas and I to push this through. And at the last minute, the state decided, in their infinite wisdom, that they were going to submit a Tech Hub application. So there were two parts to the Tech Hub information, what they put out there that they were looking for. So they were going to, money had been designated to select 20 tech hubs across the country, right? In the what's it called? The request for funding, the NOFO. Notice of funding opportunity was very specific in what they were looking for. And so we had a really hard time of herding the cats to say, we want to make a real run at this. And so we feel like that following what they've requested there would be of the utmost importance. So we stayed the course on that, and we realized that with BWXT and Framatome here, we really are, a nuclear kind of technology hub. We've just never been able to coalesce a lot of things around that.
Mhm.
So it was our intent in doing this and pulling the narrative together and pulling folks together in a consortium. And that consortium was really based too on what that NOFO said, who needed to be at the table, who did they think needed to be at the table. Plus we didn't have a lot of time to pull it all off. But our goal is long-term. Our goal is to have continuous conversations with Framatome and BWXT to see what their needs are, in the future and how we might support those. So whether or not we got the grant, it was much more the exercise of pulling everybody together and kind of drawing a line in the sand for the Commonwealth to say, whatever way you slice this, we are, we are a force to be reckoned with in terms of just having these two companies here. So the state has put together an application for an actual tech hub, right? And like I said, there will be 20 of those selected as based on the information that we have. And when we checked last, 875 applications had been made for the tech hub, not the planning grant, but the tech hub itself. So this was Virginia's effort, what I put in there, and that's what I was able to get from them. So you can see it still has writing in the margins and when I put it in there, but I wanted you all to have, to certainly have what was submitted on behalf of Lynchburg, and then to have what I could get from the state and put it there in your Dropbox. And we will keep you all updated. I just wanted to, in terms of having a match, you need to be able to show that. And we received letters of support from the private sector as well as, and I really appreciated Dr. Capps. So we were the ones that stepped up, right? Because they are really, they're on the cutting edge there with the academy that Framatome has reinstated there. So it's for a vote for you all just to encumber those funds should we need them and should we receive the grant.
Sorry, I have a question. So how did the state one and this go together? Like one get
Yeah.
one and not the other?
Yes,
Or
yeah,
and
they
then what would happen?
operated independently. And so the state was really looking, they focused their whole grant, if you could read any of it, on workforce, on the nuclear workforce. And so the Tech Hub designation comes with no money. It just comes with the ability to perhaps apply for money later on and be recognized as a technology hub.
So they're evaluated independently,
Yes.
the two.
Yes.
Is there any other competition from Virginia? Because I think the Tidewater area.
I have
is
no
just,
idea. I mean, Tech Hub, I mean, people could have applied in other industries. Not, they might have done solar, wind, they could have done energy, they could have done advancement, they could have done all kinds of things. So
Okay,
unfortunately, as we went through this process, it became very apparent that
Sure.
nobody at the state level, at the governor's level, at least during our conversations, really knew who was applying.
okay.
Right, but I don't think anybody else applied on the nuclear side, right? So the state applied on the nuclear side for a tech hub. We were going down the road to apply for both because they were being judged independently, right? And then at the last minute, the state stepped in and just said, we're gonna,
You would have done
words,
both.
words cannot share with.
They
you.
stepped in and said what?
They stepped in and said they were gonna do their own on Friday before it had to be submitted. I don't even wanna tell you what went on there. Megan, yeah, and I, it was amazing.
So we're competing with the state?
Well, not,
Well, not
No,
really.
no, because we didn't apply
We're
for
doing the
that then.
planning grant, they're
But
doing. the-
collaboration.
Gotcha.
is
Gotcha.
Maybe not what it could be.
So we have a recommendation from Finance Committee to approve a $25,000 encumbrance of funds in case we do receive the planning grant. So, any
What's
more
the
discussion?
timing on this? Like, when would it be?
I'm thinking October or something.
Soon.
Soon then, okay, sorry.
I'll move to approve.
A second.
All in favor of approving $25,000 encumbrance, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? All right, it is approved.
All right.
Next item on the agenda is the staff report.
Okay, so some updates to the, along with the staff report. I put in your Dropbox, the update from Bluff Walk. So you all have a small equity stake in Bluff Walk, and I always follow up with them for us to, just to give us an overview of what they have going on there. So I put it in your Dropbox. BWXT has come forward and asked for another year on the lease.
Nice,
Really?
Yes.
nice.
And so I've got a letter from
Approved.
them. Yeah, I got a letter from them and Rick gave me some language, John, so if you can just stay for a second. He just believes if we sign off on the letter as the EDA chair, we would be accepting them extending the lease. Anyway, I'll let you see all that. I
Remind me,
just got it.
where were they gonna go instead?
They have they in a trade with Framatome, they took back over one of their original buildings in Mount Athos
Oh,
down
right,
at
right,
Campbell,
right.
in Campbell County. And so they have a big project down there to kind of make that an innovation center for themselves.
So it's just not ready?
It's not ready.
What is
It's not ready. So lucky for us. That's always good. We are working on a business development plan with Clayton in the new role there. We're just trying to put together, you know, all of the things that we're doing on the ED side of it, the business, you know, retention and expansion, as well as the business attraction side of things. There's just so many different things going on that we want to capture all that. So we're working with Stephen Pedigo, and Clayton's doing a great job of trying to, we have a business visitation, a formal business visitation plan. Really that plan, even though we stay in touch with our folks, that plan is, you know, more in-depth than necessarily what everybody here in their various iterations, like nobody here's been in their current roles except for maybe Alicia long enough to, you know, execute on it. And so we're all just navigating and trying to look at, you know, where do we land and where do we really, you know, need to be in terms of business visitation. it is proven to be, when you can stay in touch with companies and, talk to them about more than just the weather, it proves to be very fruitful to know what's coming and what's going on and how can you respond to that. So, oh boy, that's one right there. So that is going really well. Alicia is busy working on our enterprise zone number 2, which is the second enterprise zone ever granted in the state of Virginia. We've had it for 40 or 50 years. It's up for redesignation in 2024, and all the paperwork has to be completed by October. Yeah, so she is working. They have made the process a lot simpler than when we did 46 last time. So that is great news. So she is working on that. If any of you saw the governor's press release, we haven't been able to do a press release because, as you know, the governor has to do it first. But we were awarded the MUMS, the 12th Street project that came through. You all didn't require any match or anything, but has to be submitted by the EDA or the city to request those funds, was granted for $500,000 for 400 12th Street. So Alicia worked on that with them. That was just really interesting because that was the application came down through there. I called both of them and said, let's have lunch and see if this could work anywhere. They were game for it, and then the rest is history. So that's amazing.
Will we have to take action on that at some point? Well, there's some
Yes.
discussion whether it's a grant or a loan.
Yeah, I think that we will take action on it, because the funds will have to, flow through the EDA in some sort of way. And how, I think there is some mechanism there where it goes from a loan to a grant or something like that happens and has a upside for the EDA.
Yeah, if the EDA manages it, it becomes managing the loan, and then you'll get to keep the principal and reinvest it in another project.
Good deal.
Not a
Yeah.
bad deal. And sites A and B are still being worked on. Clayton's got a plan. He's working with the city's forest,
Urban forest.
urban forester, to start working on clearing it's an in-depth, kind of plan, which I'm just so incredibly pleased about. It's just not going out there and, mowing everything down. So it's a lot of work to coordinate all of that. So Clayton, I don't know if you want to say
Sure.
anything.
Yeah, the logging is moving forward. It's open for bid as of I guess it'll open on Friday, I believe. But basically, the goal is to have it completed by December. He provided us with some figures for like ongoing maintenance once it is logged. So which would include seeding and then maybe an annual bush hog running through it. I have a document put together for that. Right now it's really preliminary and it'll depend on getting bids. So it's really just an estimate from him, which I can provide you with. But basically, all together, it looks like $225 per acre. So about $8,000 to $9,000 total.
So, and I think there
For 2
are real
years, I think.
impacts on things when you log it like that, especially if the site is gonna sit there. So water resources, Clayton has coordinated with all the different city departments, because when we do something with EDA property, we go through it just like the private sector does, right? We're listening to all of the things that they're telling us. So what I would do is take whatever information that Clayton gets on this and wherever we land, and I would put that in your budget for maintenance of the industrial parks for the next year, right? You all have an amount that we set aside. It's a nominal amount, but it's certainly more than what he just said. For the industrial parks, they're both pretty built out, but for this site, we just want to make sure there's not runoff. We want to make sure that it's not creating issues
Right.
in other places, and we want to make sure that we're prepared Because some of the things that happen are you take these things on and it's up to staff to execute on anything you all do here, or anything that happens here. And we've got to have people in place that know, hey, this has to be done on this date, or we need to follow up on this, or all that kind of thing. So, yeah, so that's, I think that we've had a lot of activity, and for numerous reasons, in terms of prospects and in terms of existing businesses and all that, but you wait till those sites get cleared. It's gonna be, because people ride by it every day and they just don't even think about that that's available or anything about it. So I just think that that'll ramp up significantly once that occurs. So I put in your Dropbox also the Liberty Economic Impact Study. They do that every 2 years. We have been working, Anna had it as a project previously to look at the, from the City Manager's Office, the Town and Gown initiative that was there. We've been working on that for about a year with the rest of the colleges to look at how they might be able to, come together for an economic impact, right? So that it wouldn't just be Liberty, even though Liberty pays for this themselves, and they've been doing it for a long time now. But that's one of the things that we discussed with the rest of the colleges, is how all of them might come together and we produce some kind of economic impact for them. Andrew, I like to tell you all about the tourism side of it because it's so incredibly important to balance out the economy here. And he's killing it. He's had 13 leads. I mean, he's like 33% above where it was last year. He's incredibly organized, and it's blended between meetings, conferences, that type of business, and sports tourism. So we're getting ready to launch a reboot or an update of our sports tourism plan. I've really, made sure all the college presidents knew how important, their campuses are, how it could be of great benefit to them to pay attention to that. I realize everybody's really busy and their athletic directors are thinking, I can hardly pull off what I got here, much less. But we brought this group in, the Airstream Ventures, to work alongside us. And part of the reason for doing that is because their outreach, they're almost like deepening the bench for us. So under Andrew, they go out and advocate on our behalf to bring events here, and they will actually help you staff the events. So they operationally have all that background. So that is also something that I'm looking, to take off as well. We went to the Go Virginia region too. They had a workforce discussion. They've taken them all around the state, and they did manufacturing and machining at the LRVA. And we went to, Clayton participated, I participated, Alicia participated, because one of the grants for the airport is from Go Virginia. And that's a great place to look for grant money for other types of projects. Megan hosted a commercial real estate briefing. That was interesting. And that hadn't been done in a really long time. And so Clayton presented at that. We just talked about the incentives that are available at all of the different municipalities. So, and it was relatively well attended. I was surprised, because a lot of times when I try to get that group together, the struggle is real. We have continued conversations with Project Mill Ridge and Project Range, still in the running. And we're looking at zones 2 and 46, but time is fleeting. I need to take it off the.
We have a call Monday.
Okay. Because it's getting really close and we don't have my head on the phone. And the comprehensive plan, so you all went to the meeting on the comprehensive plan. I believe that's the first time that the EDA and the planning commission have been there together. And so they're gonna do focus groups after that. Hopefully what you took from it is just, you know, how important a strategic plan is. I didn't think that the materials for the meeting went out early enough. So I would just say, you know, looking at best practices and the work that the groundwork they've already done, looking at some of those, you know, types of things, because zoning is a really big deal, right? It's a really big deal as your city changes over time. You know, what are the things that worked at one point in time may not be, it may be something you need to relook at and reconsider as you move forward. So I would just ask that you all, you know, communicate with me, you know, or Clayton, if you have questions or things that we could flesh out, because really having a better grip on what that, there were a lot of things that I, you know, sat there and went, wow. But it's a lot to take in as to what goes on with all of that. And so having you all feel comfortable, even at a, you know, very basic level with some of that I think would be really good. And I would like for the planning commission to know more. That's one of the reasons why we spent so much time on the EDA 101 and that type of presentation, just to look at trends and all that, was to hopefully get in front of the planning commission and let them see what you all do. Right, because what they do impacts what you do and vice versa. So I don't know if you all had any thoughts or any comments on that meeting.
I wasn't there, so love to.
Do we get looped back in at some point, or are we kind of done and we're just?
No, I think you're
participating
looped back in. I mean, I think you would be part of the, you know, the focus groups that they're gonna have and do. I don't know if they're gonna split that up, Sean, and yours would be more of a, you know, manufacturer or major, you know, employer, or how, you know, they're gonna, I've looked down at some of the groups that they're gonna get together, but if they don't contact you, I will send that information out to keep you involved. Number one, it's great, it's interesting, maybe not, to see what the public thinks about what goes on here, or how educated, I mean, how much information they really have on making these decisions. I mean, like I said, when I was sitting there that day, sometimes I'm kind of shocked at the things that we don't know.
It seemed like it was at such a high level. It really wasn't very, I mean, maybe, but it seems like there needs to be a next level where
I agree with you.
more things like, you know, land use.
Like
I mean,
what's
it
the-
was more like, you know, do
Yeah.
you like parks better than recreation? I mean, which
Yeah.
is fine. I just would seem like there'd be a next
Right,
layer
and
down.
it would also be, I think some of you all even asked the question, maybe Sean did, is like, you know, if you're asking me if I like parks better than this, how many parks do we actually have? And what does a city of our size, right? How many, you know, what does that mean? And, you know, how do you do that? How do you do that? I mean, it's kind of I think a difficult thing to answer when you don't have the baseline on some of that.
If you don't have all the information, data, how
Right.
do you make a
Right.
concrete decision?
I mean, because I think at the end of the day, I mean, there's only so much money to go around, but if you're gonna look at the future of the city, you're gonna have all of those things to be competitive, or to, you know, and to retain the people and the things that you have. So, it goes on for a long time, as y'all heard. It's like
Yeah.
18 months for the whole kit and caboodle. So, like I said, if you're not involved, you know, in some of the groups there, I will make sure that whatever notes and things are taken from that I'll put in your Dropbox or let you know. And then please ask any questions, you know, that you might have, because housing is a big deal. You know, housing for everybody, workforce housing is a big deal. you know, parks and amenities, all that kind of stuff when you're trying to do talent retention and attraction. Those are all, you know, those are all big deals, right? And you gotta, I mean, you want to be good stewards, but you gotta think about all those things and work together to keep
Is
them.
there
top of mind.
anything that I can, educate myself? I missed the meeting. I was in Europe.
Yeah. They sent out a whole package of
I
stuff.
didn't
It's
miss
a good
much.
lunch.
Yeah, they
It's the
sent out a
same
whole
thing.
package of stuff there, that would be, I mean, if you go on the city's website and go to the comprehensive plan,
Yeah.
all those
Okay.
documents
Oh,
will be,
okay.
you know, in there. And my
Okay.
thing would be, if you've gone through them, right, just not studied them, but if you've gone through them, what questions come up from that? You know, what things did you think were missing, that kind of thing. Like Joanne said, it was at,
It was,
you know, a really high level, and I think you all asked those questions. It was not what I was expecting from you all. I'll just say that.
I think it was
for the record.
recorded, you could watch it, like 3
Yeah.
hours. Do many citizens turn out? As it progresses, do people show up for a lot of these things on their own?
Not necessarily, but I think that's all part of what, you know, Anna's group and everything's trying to do is to,
Engage the public.
engage the public more in these kinds of discussions. I mean, people that have real agendas and are, and are really interested, those folks, you know, you saw at that meeting, that was a public meeting, but of course it was in the middle of the day and people couldn't get there. It depends on, you know, where it is, and so, no, we don't, we had a meeting for the largest project that the city has.
At the table.
Oh my
has ever
God,
done.
big lessons.
Yeah, so we had
The
a
lunch
meeting
was
on
good.
this week for the largest project that the city has ever done, this CSO tunnel that's gonna happen at US Pipe. And there were
They couldn't feed
5
everybody.
people there. And I brought my husband, so.
Just almost broke my
He
sandwich
asked
in
all the
half and
questions.
passed it around.
Very loudly, by the way.
Good.
Oh my God. There's a lot of questions. Yeah, so that was, we will press on, but I will keep you all advised, and I really do want to know your feedback, right? Just if you have questions, if, you know, like Sean says, how engaged are people? I think we are, everything that we do on the city side, when we do a comprehensive plan, when we do the downtown master plans, when we do all of those types of plans, we have to engage the public, right? So I think these are all great places where Anna has aspirations to have us engage the public, you know, at a deeper level, have them care and want to, you know, show up and give feedback, right? Because the feedback for the comprehensive plan, when you extrapolate it, it's for everything else that's going on around you as well, right? It
Yeah.
helps educate them on other things. Okay. So hopefully you all saw the City of Lynchburg and Southern Living in the 6-page spread there. And Alicia just came back from IEDC, where we won a silver award for the Virginian Hotel project for redevelopment and reuse of a structure. So that is, IEDC is municipalities all across the country are competing. So that was, the top award is the gold award, and then we got the silver award for that. So
Nice.
we're really, really
Very nice.
very
Congrats.
proud of that. And that's all.
Well,
I apologize for my phone constantly going off. We have
That's okay.
an event
Mine's
this
going off
weekend and it's
too.
raining, so everybody's asking what Plan B is.
for your mopeds?
I know you said that purposely. Yeah, the mods and rockers.
Any questions on staff report? Thank you. All right, so we do have reason to go into closed session.
Somebody needs to make a motion pursuant to 2.23711A 3 of the Code of Virginia for the consideration or discussion of the acquisition of real property for a public purpose or the disposition of publicly held real property for discussion in an open meeting would adversely affect the bargaining position or negotiating strategy of the public body. And Section 5, discussion concerning a prospective business or industry or the expansion thereof, where no previous announcement has been made.
A motion to do so.
I'll second it.
All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. All right, we are in closed session.
Exempted from open meeting requirements by Virginia law were discussed in the closed meeting to which this certification and resolution applies, and 2, only public business matters were identified in the motion convening the closed session were heard, discussed, or considered by the board.
A motion so.
Second.
All in favor of said motion, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. Now we're doubly official out of closed session.
And you can adjourn.
And unless anyone else has any further business to bring forth, then our meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.